You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 26th show. You can also catch us on our podcast, Facebook premiere show, or on our show YouTube channel. I am your host, Tina Mitchell, and flying solo today as Keelan's taking the day off. We bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. We are here to help you in today's economy. And now in studio, we have Monica Sanchez of Transworld Business Advisors. Why over 90% of businesses do not sell, right here on 1150 AM at KKNW. Monica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tina. I truly appreciate it and an honor to be here.
Likewise, very excited to have you. So Monica is a business advisor with Transworld of Central Washington. She believes in being of service to others and helping them in a meaningful way by empowering individuals through education, listening to the needs of her sellers, and understands the buyers to provide a smooth, confident, and confidential rewarding process for all parties. Monica has lived in the Northwest for over 40 years. Her greatest accomplishment was completing her bachelor degree with honors in 2018 while building a business and raising her family. Monica understands the value of hard work to achieve a goal. Being part of her community through the Yakima Veterans Coalition and the Yakima Valley College Program Advisory Committee allows her to reach out and uplift others to achieve their goals. So again, really excited to have a conversation with you and all about your business and what's happening. So let's start out with what was your why behind becoming a business advisor?
Thank you. So both of my parents, they owned their own business back in the 80s. And, when they were ready to sell and take that next step of retirement, there was not a business advisor in our area. Now, Yakima is a small town, and it was very well known on the East Coast, but not on the West Coast. So eventually what they had to do was close their doors, and they ended up losing financially. They had to sell and just mainly give away the inventory that they had that was remaining. And through that experience that I had and watched my parents struggle at the end was really a big motivating factor for me to become a business advisor, especially for my valley. And I'm honored to help bring people, buyers and sellers together for a smooth transition.
Yeah, I love hearing the story of our why and our journey and what's brought us to where we were at. Growing up, I played my violin at Pike Place Market to help my parents keep a roof over our head. And as I was doing that through the humiliation of it, I was making a commitment and determination that I was going to be a homeowner. And I bought my first home when I was 20 years old. So it's nice that whether, I always say we're either driven by pain or we're driven by purpose. But if you can have the mixture of that pain drawing you to your purpose, that's a great combination for sure. So Monica, why does a business owner need an advisor?
Well, it's important to have a business advisor. Oftentimes they don't know where to start. And so that takes time away from their business, and talking to potential buyers that may never may never put in an offer. So this decreases from their sales. And oftentimes it's not kept confidential from the employees, vendors, and the clients. This is where a business advisor can help because they can keep the process confidential, handle the day-to-day conversations, and qualify the potential buyers in order to allow the business owners to focus on increasing their sales through this transaction.
Yeah, I am definitely a believer that you hire out everything with the experts to take care of it because we really are an expert in our area. There's a lot of other things that go into successful financial outcome and hiring somebody that can navigate through that process for you. So why is it important to keep a sale confidential?
Well, this is really important.
What could be the risk if it wasn't kept confidential?
Uh, True. And what it is, people have this fear, right? If they see that there's going to be an impact of maybe their favorite place that's going to be changing hands, or the employees know, they start to get nervous, and then they start to jump ship. And this will impact the business and the owners in a negative way. And then it makes the buyers fearful of, if that's happening now, what's going to happen when I take over?
Yeah, imagine, I mean, if you work at a company, just think about it. If you're hearing that the owners are going to sell, I mean, definitely you're starting to see what your options are, because that would get nervous. So the confidentiality, I can see, is critically important, and a lot of different reasons why. So Monica, how do you increase your buyer pool?
Yeah, that's a good question. So think about it this way. There's businesses, they work in the business versus working on the business, and this can limit a lot of the skills that a buyer would need in order to take over that business. So you want to place yourself in that owner's role of working on the business, dealing with the management of the people, directing the vision and the strategy, overseeing the finance performance. This makes it really where the business is more of a generic business skill set and functions that can be taken over and can be transferred across other industries. And that widens the pool for buyers.
Yes. So what about the reason why you build a middle management?
Yeah, well, and that's again, right? So you don't want to be you're the face of the business initially, but you'll want to grow that out to where your employees are taking over. That way, it's not where a buyer's coming in and they're fearful that the success of the business is related to the owner and their day-to-day involvement. This is really a huge risk in sales, and one of the reasons why companies either they don't sell on their own or they have to sell at a reduced price. So the solution would be, implement your employees in those relations, and delegate them towards that middle management.
Yeah. So Monica, when should someone reach out and talk with a business advisor?
That's a good question. Think about it this way: if you don't have a succession plan in place for illness, retirement, now is a good time to reach out, right? It's a free consultation just to discuss what their options are. And owners want to look at least 3 to 5 years out when they're putting their plan together. It does take an average of 6 to 9 months to sell a business. So keeping that factor in mind, it's not hot like the home
17 days, not like 17 days.
something like that. So that's definitely something to know. And then there's several steps in place as well that they have to do before you could actually list the business.
Yeah, so you're really taking action and having that strategy session to find out and put that plan together. It's kind of like a mortgage. Somebody says, well, when do I come talk to you about a mortgage? Right now, if you're asking, if you think you want to be a homeowner at all, in the future, the first step is to talk about financing on kind of the same thing in your industry, have that strategy. And you may not be thinking of even selling your business, but having that conversation of what that could like, it could help you actually put a plan together in the future of what that opportunity might be. So Monica, what do buyers look for?
Well, there's a variety of buyers that you want to keep in mind. One is the buyer who's already in that same industry and they want to acquire their competition, right? So that's one. Two is the buyer who they want to be in business for themselves. They don't want to work for somebody else, but yet they don't want to start from scratch either, because that's a long haul, and you don't know if that's going to be successful or not. And the last one is absentee owners. Now, this is a big one that they tend to have a portfolio of other businesses, and then they grow through acquisitions. But either way, these buyers, they want a business it's turnkey, doing well financially, has a good reputation, and easy to transition into.
So why not use a realtor?
Well, realtors and business advisors, we are very different. For example, a realtor, they have the luxury of being able to put a home or commercial building out there in the market for anybody to search. But as for a business broker, the marketing technique has to be different, right? Because we talk about the key important, which is confidentiality. So marketing a business in the same way that you would market a house could be financially disastrous for that business and their bottom line.
Yeah. So Monica, I would assume that a business owner, they can sell their business even though they don't own the building, correct?
Yes, and that's where some business owners are not privy to, or they don't understand that. They think if I don't own the building, then my business isn't worth anything. But they've built up this year of clientele. So yeah, we actually have over half of our transactions involve just selling the business and not the building. We have to keep in mind that the landlord, excuse me, the landlord is the key factor in this process, because they could kill a deal if they don't want to renew a lease to somebody who's never been in that industry, so we really help with that process.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about, restaurants and retail stores and things like that, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what differentiates one business advisor from another, Monica?
Well, some of business advisors, they will charge an upfront fee that may not be refundable. So therefore, the seller is at risk already putting some money up front. Plus, a lot of brokers, they will only work with businesses that are $500,000 and up. So what we do differently is we don't charge any upfront fees. We only get paid when we sell the business. So there's no risk to them. And then also, we like to work with small to medium-sized businesses and providing those owners consultation through coaching standpoint, which is often overlooked. And then we also help to provide them guidance to maximize their profits.
Yeah, that is so great. Well, Monica, it was a pleasure to have a conversation with you. And thank you so much for sharing your expertise with our listeners.
Thank you for having me.
And this is your host, Tina Mitchell, local mortgage expert, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your week. We'll be here to talk more money. Keelan will be here with me next weekend, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.